Hi, everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about the rich man's expectations gap. I'm a winning divorce strategist, an unbiased expert witness, a hero to my clients, and a villain to their exes. Welcome to the Stay Rich Show. Now, what is that? In terms of an expectations gap, I want to be very clear that we're talking about marriage and relationships. And I'm going to describe a scenario to you, which is the most likely scenario for all the cases I deal with as a litigation consultant and forensic accountant in high net worth and ultra high net worth cases. I deal with men who weren't successful when they got into their relationship. This is really common. So this man maybe he met his wife or his wife to be in university, and she thought to herself, I'm going to roll the dice on this guy. I think he has what it takes to become successful. So they met at age 22. Maybe they got married when they're 25 or 26 or something like that, which is great. Everybody's happy. And during that period of time, during that relationship, there exists a time when his perceived value as someone who maybe graduated from college and has student loans and is just starting his career, his perceived value is going to be pretty low because he hasn't really gone out into the world and proven the type of man that he can become. And in this period of time, which is important, it's actually the woman who's investing more into the relationship. It's her that's kind of setting up some of the blocks for his success. And one of them is by treating him better than how he actually is. And the reason that these men are happy and they want to go into marriage and they're really excited is because they're being treated really well. They're actually being treated the best they've ever been treated by anybody before. She's treating him like this, and really, this is kind of where he's at. Just a bit lower, which is great. And this is how it starts. Now, over the course of this man's career, his perceived value picks up, and especially if he's living a rich lifestyle where he's leading, where he's staying physically active, where his mentality is positive and motivational and inspiring. And he's not just tied into his work, but he's bringing all these values, the ones that she fell in love with, back home because she's getting to experience this growth. She's getting to actually experience the positive benefits of all that work that she's put into this, all that investment in time and rolling the dice and hoping that it works out. She's actually getting to experience some of the positive effects of that, right? So his career's taking off, right? So his perceived value just to anybody is increasing. And with that, his expectation of how he should be treated is also increasing. And that's okay. That's expected because in a positive marriage, in a great marriage, the point is that you, as the man, as the leader, as the guy who starts a business, are going to go out and become successful. You are going to become rich. You are going to become a better protector and provider for your wife. Because at the end of the day, what you're going to do is that you're going to bring home all of these great positive things and help her become a better woman too, and help her lead a rich, successful, filling, happy life and have kids. And have a wonderful family and have all these different traditions and be able to go away and be able to have freedom and be able to set your kids up for success in the future. That's your job as the man, right? But she also plays a role because you're protecting and providing for her. And she is also protecting and providing for you. She's the one that's watching your back. She's the one who's protecting your soul. She's the one who's keeping you grounded and alive and motivated to push forward even in your hardest moments. That's how good functional relationships work, right? So as your expectations of how you're being treated increases, effectively this is what the really successful rich men do when they're married. The best relationships are the ones where that man is saying, not literally, but showing, I'm expecting my treatment. I'm expecting you to treat me better as I get better. I don't want everything to stay flat because that's going to create an issue down the road. And I'll talk about that shortly. But I want you to have more to give too. And these men invest a lot into these marriages. They invest a lot into these relationships, the successful ones, the rich ones. Now, the ones that end up getting divorced, it goes one of two ways. In the most common cases, what happens is that his wife's perception of him stays at around when he's age 25 or age 30. So it hasn't really increased during this time. So his value, his career, his energy, his time is becoming more valuable. His attention is becoming more valuable because there's just so much power and value behind it, which is proven by a track record. And there's more financial freedom. There's more money. So all of this is taking off, but she's still seeing him through this lens that he's 25. He's that guy that just got out of college. And this is where all the tension starts to build because he's not leading his relationship. Everything's going great in his life, but he's not actually commanding more respect. He's not commanding better treatment. She doesn't want to provide things for him. She doesn't want to be better for him. She doesn't want to go out of her way to make him happy, which is really sad because isn't that the point? The point of going out into the world and becoming successful is to be able to give more than anybody else in your family to your loved ones. More of things that are valuable, more money, more attention, more time, more energy. The latter three are the most important. But for some reason, this isn't being reciprocated. And what's happening in 95% of these cases is that these men are going out into the world and doing these things, but they're in part forgetting to bring these values home. So his wife is left hung out to dry and is upset about that, rightfully. And in addition to that, this same man isn't actually commanding better treatment. He's accepting treatment that is not meeting his needs, wants, and expectations. And the longer this goes, the further into the future this goes, the worse and worse the marriage becomes because this guy is sitting up at night and looking at his marriage, and this could be you, and saying, I'm worth $25 million. I've seen this. I make $2 million per year. I spend time with the kids. We go on vacation. We do this, we do this, we do this. And he's looking at this and saying, I'm not being treated well at all. I feel like I'm being treated worse than when we first started dating. Why doesn't she respect me? Why doesn't she love me? Why doesn't she do things that I ask that she does? Well, it's because she knows there's no consequences. If you're willing to accept that treatment and not command better treatment, that gap will only keep increasing in size until it hits a breaking point. And this is where divorces happen. And often this cycle goes as follows. The man continues to ignore this problem and it snowballs. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and wider. And it becomes this giant elephant in the room. But he's still avoiding addressing it because he's scared and not confident. And she respects him less and less and less because she sees that he doesn't have the self-respect to stand up for himself, to actually get treatment that is more appropriate for somebody like him. It may not be conscious, but subconscious instead. And as this resentment builds, she resents him, he resents her. And then either he has an affair or she has an affair. It's almost guaranteed. And most relationships, like almost all relationships, don't come back from that, especially if it's the woman that had the affair. The guy may try to stick around for a couple of years, but it's always doomed to fail because she's not willing at that point. It's gotten to such a bad point that it's never going to come back. And she'll decide to leave. And these men are somehow blindsided because they look at it and they go, oh, well, you know, I'm rich and I'm successful and I provide and I do this and she's got nice stuff. But she doesn't give a shit about the stuff. She wanted you. She married you. She didn't marry a Mercedes. I think a lot of guys might choose that, actually. Maybe after. But she didn't marry a Mercedes. She didn't marry a BMW. She didn't marry a second home. She married you. And these men are blindsided by this. And then when you ask them about it, you can quickly point out what's happened here. And it's not from the affair. It's from a long time ago. This is when the problem started. And that's a typical situation. This is what I deal with all the time. For other men who are able to inspire better treatment, these ones generally don't get divorced. There's no point. They're constantly happy. They're constantly fulfilled. They're constantly looking at their wife lovingly. They're constantly excited to invest more and more and more and more and more into their family. They're constantly going out to get more, to give more. And these guys aren't sitting around taking score. They know that they're supposed to give the most. They know that they're the ones who have more to give. And they're happy to give it because they're giving it to the people that they love. They don't care. They're not upset about it. And they know that they're getting what they want back, which is a great marriage. Now, it's possible that this may go off track, but these guys who are able to command the kind of treatment that they actually want, that they actually need, and inspire their wives to show up for them, when things go astray, when things go off track, these guys recognize it sooner because they're more in touch with their role. They're more in touch with what's going on, and they're better able to express what they want and what they need. So if she's not meeting his expectations, these guys have already planned ahead. These are the rich men that do get divorced that stay rich, as they planned ahead and they know what to do. They see the signs coming because they've gone through the marital audit in my book, How the Rich Get Divorced and Stay Rich. They know that they need to invest a certain period of time and give it their all to better understand how they can improve their marriage. But at the same time, they're going to be planning to leave and at least have some of the blocks in place to know what's going to happen. So at the end, at the expiry of that time, they can make a decision and say, okay, I've given it my all, and I don't think it's ever going to get there. And it's not her fault. It's not my fault. We just, for whatever reason, it's not going to work. And they're comfortable making that decision at that stage, and they're more emotionally grounded making the decision at that stage. And their wife is better at that stage because both of them are coming to that realization. Both of them have tried legitimately to reset things, and both of them are realizing, this got better, but it's not good enough. And that's it. So let's try to divide things in a way that keeps everything happy, that keeps everything amicable. Let's work with each other with the kids. Let's make sure the really valuable things stay intact. Let's make sure the kids have a stable home. They're the ones that do these things, and they're the ones that are proactive. So that's the expectations gap. I'm going to put a chart in the comments. If you comment gap, I'll send you a PDF document with a chart and just a succinct explanation of this and why it's so important with sources to help you understand this issue further.